Would the House please come to order? Good morning. Very good. Pursuant to the provisions of the Constitution and laws of the state of Vermont, I hereby call to order the 78th biennial session of the House of Representatives. Devotional exercises this morning will be led by the Reverend Alyssa Jonk of the First Congregational Church, UCC, in Burlington.
Friends, it is a unique gift to be able to stand before you on this exciting first morning. Now, there are two questions I usually ask my children when they are doing something new. The first is, how much do I love you? The answer is supposed to be so much. Now, that question might not be so relevant today. But the second is, what's the most important thing? And they're supposed to answer, be kind. Now, my 5-year-old already rolls her eyes and whines, stop. But the 2-year-old still reliably answers, no much, and be kind. I have no idea if he knows what he's saying. But to offer you some words for the beginning, I'm going to offer you a few guidelines written by Daniel Hunter that were developed from his work on global democracy advocacy, and they are to help folks stay grounded in a divided and destabilizing time. The first is trust yourself. As social trust erodes and the concept of truth becomes fuzzy, you must, each one of you, trust in yourself and your still small voice. And you must be trustworthy. Not just with facts or information, but also with your emotions. The second is, may you have the courage to seek out others to trust, particularly those who don't think or vote like you. Meet with them regularly, because fear breeds distance, and distance breeds fear. May they bring you laughter, because laughter is the gift of perspective. Third, may this courage allow you the wisdom to handle your fear. We all have it. So face it, turn towards it, not away, and don't let it grow. Fourth, your path, your chosen path by being here this morning is to protect people and build alternatives. Time will not look favorably on us unless we build kinder and more loving systems. So that's why you're here. Stay true. And last, envision a positive future. Really take time daily to envision a positive future. Visualize it, because it gives you hope as well as strategic perspective. When all feels lost, as Hunter puts it, zoom out to the lifespan of the Green Mountains. The future is not a given. Build what you want to see, not what you fear you must. Friends, in the state of Vermont, you are political, but also moral leaders. So what I offer you this morning is a blessing. May you be blessed by these guidelines. May you be blessed with each step you take today, and the next, and the next, and the next. May those steps lead you down a path where you are able to offer your best gifts. You are here because you are so trusted. And if you forget everything else to take you through these next journeys, remember the most important thing. What is it? Be kind. May it be so this day and all that follow.
Thank you, Reverend. Now, would you please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before I call the roll of House members-elect, we must first address a resignation in House District Rutland 3. Will the clerk please read the resignation letter of Representative-elect Chris Brown of Castleton?
Dear Honorable Betsy Ann Rask, Clerk of the House of Representatives, this letter is to give notice of my intention to resign from my position as Representative-elect for Rutland 3, Castleton. I wish not to take my oath on January 8th. It is with a heavy heart that I must inform you of my decision to step away from my recently elected position representing the residents of Castleton and all Vermonters in the House. My wife has been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and this medical crisis has necessitated the need for me to dedicate my time to helping her and my children and family as we meet the challenges ahead. I ask for your support of my decision. It is my most fervent hope that a suitable replacement will be named to move forward in my place. Someone with a history and love for Castleton, Vermont and Vermonters. With sincerity and thanks, former Rep-elect Chris Brown.
Now, we have received from the governor an appointment to fill the vacancy in Rutland 3 caused by the resignation of Representative-elect Chris Brown of Castleton. Will the clerk please read the governor's letter appointing Zachary J. Harvey of Castleton?
Dear Betsy Ann, I have the honor to inform you that I have appointed Zachary J. Harvey of Castleton, Vermont, to serve in the General Assembly, representing Castleton in House District Rutland 3.
Thank you. And I will now call the roll of members-elect by district. After I call your name, please respond to indicate that you are present. Addison 1, Robin P. Shy. Amy D. Sheldon. Addison 2, Peter C. Conlon. Addison 3, Matthew J. Byrong Jr. Rob North. Addison 4, Mari K. Cordes. Herb Olson. Addison 5, Jubilee McGill. Addison Rutland, James Jim Casey. Bennington 1, Jonathan Cooper. Bennington 2, Timothy R. Corcoran II. William Will Greer. Bennington 3, David K. Durfee. Bennington 4, Robert Hunter. Bennington 4, Kathleen C. James. Bennington 5, Mary A. Morrissey. Michael Nigro. Bennington Rutland, Sandra Sandy Pinsino. Caledonia 1, Deborah Lynn Powers. Caledonia 2, Michael Southworth. Caledonia 3, Martha A. Marty Feltus. Beth M. Quimby. Caledonia Essex R. Scott Campbell. Deborah Cords Dolgan. Caledonia Washington, Gregory Greg Burt. Chittenden 1, Jana Brown. Chittenden 2, Angela Arsenault. Chittenden 2 as well, Aaron Brady. Chittenden 3, Edie Granning and Trevor Squirrel. Chittenden 4, Phil Pouch. Chittenden 5, Shay Waters Evans. Chittenden 6, Kate Lally. Chittenden 7, Sean Sweeney. Chittenden 8, Bridget Marie Burkhart. Chittenden 9, Emily Krasnow. Chittenden 10, Kate Nugent. Chittenden 11, Brian Minier. Chittenden 12, Martin J. Lalonde. Chittenden 13, Tiffany Tiff Bloomley. Bram Klepner. Chittenden 14, Barbara Rachelson. Mary Catherine Stone. Chittenden 15, Brian Chena and Troy Hedrick. Chittenden 16, Jill L. Kruwinski and Kate Logan. Chittenden 17, Abby Duke. Chittenden 18, Robert J. Hooper and Carol Odie. Chittenden 19, Sarah C. Sarita Austin and Wendy Critchlow. Chittenden 20, Doug Bishop and Gail Pezzo. Chittenden 21, Daisy Berbecco and Chloe Tomlinson. Chittenden 22, Karen N. Dolan. Lori Houghton. Chittenden 23, Leonora Dodge. Golrang Ray Garofano. Chittenden 24, Alyssa Black. Chittenden 25, Brenda Steady. Chittenden Franklin, Anthony Tony Miklas. Christopher Taylor. Essex Caledonia, John Kasenska. Essex Orleans, Larry Labor. Franklin 1, Ashley Bartley. Carolyn Whitney Brannigan. Franklin 2, Eileen G. Lynn Dickinson. Franklin 3, Joseph Joe Luno. Franklin 4, Thomas Oliver Jr. Matthew E. Matt Walker. Franklin 5, Lisa Hango. Wayne A. LaRush. Franklin 6, James A. R. Gregoire. Franklin 7, Alan Penny DeMar. Franklin 8, Casey J. Toof. Grand Isle Chittenden, Leland J. Morgan. Michael R. Morgan. Lamoille 1, Jed Lipsky. Lamoille 2, Richard J. Bailey. Daniel A. Noyes. Lamoille 3, Lucy Boyden. Lamoille, Washington, Sadia Lamont. David W. Iacovoni. Orange 1, Mike Tagliavia. Orange 2, Monique Priestley. Orange 3, Joshua Dobrovich. Orange Caledonia, Joseph Parsons. Orange Washington Addison, Philip J. Hooper. And Lawrence Larry Satkowitz. Orleans 1, Richard M. Nelson. Orleans 2, Woodman H. Woody Page. Orleans 3, Kenneth Ken Wells. Orleans 4, Leanne Harple. Orleans Lamoille, Mark A. Higley. Michael J. Marcotte. Rutland 1, Patty A. McCoy. Rutland 2, David Dave Bosch. Thomas B. Burdett. Rutland 3, Zachary J. Harvey. Rutland 4, Christopher Howland. Rutland 5, Eric McGuire. Rutland 6, Mary E. Howard. Rutland 7, Chris Keyser. Rutland 8, Alicia Millay. Rutland 9, Todd Nielsen. Rutland 10, William P. Bill Canfield. Rutland 11, James Jim Harrison. Rutland Bennington, Christopher A. Chris Pritchard. Rutland Windsor, Kevin C. Winter. Washington 1, Ann B. Donahue. Kenneth W. Goslant. Washington 2, Dara Torre. Candace White. Washington 3, Michael Booton. Edward Teddy Wasizak. Washington 4, Connor Casey. Kate McCann. Washington 5, Ella Chapin. Washington 6, Mark B. Mahali. Washington Chittenden, Thomas S. Tom Stevens. Teresa A. Wood. Washington Orange, Gina M. Galfetti. Francis M. Topper McFawn. Wyndham 1, Zahn Eastus. Wyndham 2, Laura H. Sibilia. Wyndham 3, Michelle Boslin. Leslie Goldman. Wyndham 4, Mike Merwicki. Wyndham 5, Emily J. Long. Wyndham 6, Emily Karis Duncan. Wyndham 7, Emily K. Kornheiser. Wyndham 8, Molly Sullivan Burke. Wyndham 9, Ian Goodnow. Here. Wyndham Windsor Bennington, Christopher Morrow. Windsor 1, John L. Bartholomew. Elizabeth L. C. Burrows. Windsor 2, Varanus Lothrop V. L. Coffin IV. Windsor 3, Alice M. Emmons. Christy C. Morris. Windsor 4, Heather Supernot. Windsor 5, Charles A. Charlie Kimball. Windsor 6, Kevin B. Coach Christie. Esme Cole. Windsor Addison Kirk White. Windsor Orange 1, John K. O'Brien. Windsor Orange 2, Rebecca Holcomb. James W. Jim Masland. And Windsor Wyndham, Thomas F. Charlton. I hereby declare that there is a quorum of the members-elect present. The first order of business this session is the House's election of a Speaker of the House, and nominations for the office of Speaker are now in order. I would ask that you hold any applause until the election of the Speaker is announced. The chair recognizes the member from Waterbury, Representative Wood.
Thank you, Madam Secretary of State. My name is Teresa Wood. I am one of 2 individuals who represent the Washington Chittenden District, serving Bolton, Buell's Gore, Huntington, and Waterbury. I've been a state representative for 9 years, and I currently serve on the House Human Services Committee. Today we are fortunate to have 2 candidates for Speaker of the House who care deeply about Vermonters and the beautiful state we all call home. However, one candidate has the experience, the knowledge, the drive, and the empathy to be our Speaker. And that person is Representative Jill Krowinski of Burlington. I stand here before you because the vote we make today to lead the House of Representatives is absolutely critical to the important work we have before us. Work that Vermonters are expecting and, yes, demanding of us. I'm not a particularly political person, and I believe that we all come here because we care about the people of this state, their struggles and their joys. We care about protecting the natural beauty of Vermont while we enhance an economy that will work for all of us. It is in that vein, fully understanding the importance of our decision, that I am not only honored and delighted, but excited to nominate Representative Jill Krowinski to be Speaker of the Vermont House of Representatives, because I believe she is best suited to lead this body toward the outcomes all Vermonters are expecting of us. Representative Krowinski is like every member who sits here today. She started as a freshman legislator in 2012 with the hopes and dreams that she could use her skills, her knowledge, and her drive to establish a better future for Vermont, just like all of us hope to do. Representative Kerwinski found her ways to do just that. She started with service on the Human Services Committee prior to being elected by her peers to be Majority Leader, where she served for 4 years. And as you know, Representative Kerwinski has served as Speaker of this House for the last 4 years. And during that time, Representative Kerwinski has led with dignity, a collaborative spirit, fairness, and a drive and determination to stand for and act on solving the issues that Vermonters face. There are many examples of that leadership in policymaking. One such example is Representative Kerwinski's leadership for Vermont to protect reproductive rights, leading the way through bill passage and then ultimately toward a constitutional amendment that was unanimously supported by every single town in Vermont, the towns that we all represent. Jill not only leads by values, but she is also pragmatic in understanding the journey important policy might need to take. She is skilled at building support and working across the aisle to enact key policies that will help Vermonters. Jill also keenly understands that passing a state budget that reflects Vermonters' values is paramount. But being a good leader is not easy. Tough decisions are not always popular decisions. For example, I've seen Representative Kerwinski make the tough decisions to save our public pension system. Decisions that were not popular with many stakeholders at the time. But those decisions set the state on a path to keep its obligations to these important workforces and to do it within the state's budget. And she also knows that the current healthcare and education systems are not sustainable as they currently exist. And yes, Representative Kerwinski is prepared to roll up her sleeves, work collaboratively, and move towards identifying solutions for these issues and many more. I know that there are some who believe that the only way to make change and respond to the messages that Vermonters have sent to us is to change leadership. I disagree. The hallmark of a good leader is one that learns from their mistakes, one that listens to feedback, and one that is ready to make change. Representative Kerwinski has listened to your feedback. She understands what Vermonters are expecting, and she is poised to make change where necessary and to bolster our success as a legislature in meeting the expectations of Vermonters. Representative Kerwinski understands the challenges we face today. She has been through tumultuous times and has been a leader to bring people together. In the last several months, she is the candidate who traveled up and down this great state, visiting all 14 counties to hear the voices of your constituents. Those voices, along with all of your voices, are the ones that she carries with her as we face the challenges ahead. These challenges can sometimes seem daunting, and they can be, and they will be. But with the experienced, passionate leadership that Representative Kerwinski will provide, I know we will make more progress on critical issues like housing, homelessness, education reform, climate resiliency, healthcare, public safety, and affordability. We heard from the state economist just last month that Vermont's economy is strong, yet families don't feel that. We must connect the dots and make real progress that Vermonters will feel. I have complete confidence that Representative Jill Kerwinski is the leader the full House needs to move Vermont ahead. The challenges before us are difficult, They are complicated with no easy answers. The experience and skill that Representative Krawinski brings to this role is unmatched anywhere in this building. Yes, Representative Krawinski is committed to working with the governor, with the Senate, with all parties to make progress on these issues. But make no mistake, she will also know when and how to push to do what is right for Vermonters when that is necessary. Representative Krawinski is not flamboyant, but don't mistake that demeanor for lack of enthusiasm and drive. Nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could be further from the truth. The stakes are high, and what I do know is that if we stand today with the thoughtful, deliberate, calm, and compassionate leadership we have in Representative Jill Krawinski, Vermont will be a better place when we adjourn in May. I strongly urge you to join me in voting for Representative Jill Krawinski to be the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. Thank you.
The member from Waterbury has nominated Jill Krawinski of Burlington for the office of Speaker. Is there a second to this nomination? The chair recognizes the member from West Rutland, Representative Burdett.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. 4 years ago, I had the honor of standing in this exact spot and seconding the nomination of Jill Krawinski. Considering where Vermont is and the changes we're going through, being asked in this climate, I consider it an even bigger honor. In hindsight, I look at my first nomination as being a symbol of a friendship that had started 9 years prior in the House Human Services Committee under the tutelage of Representative Ann Pugh. Today, I see this nomination as being symbolic also, not only of a 13-year-old friendship, but so important in today's Vermont as a symbol of two hands reaching across the aisle to work for the common good of all Vermonters. My hope is all of our hands reach into the aisle for the sake of the voters in these historic times. With the monumental tasks we have on our agenda in the coming biennium, we need the experience and leadership Jill brings to the table. We need to hit the ground running now and not spend time on a transition period. With Jill's ideas, we are on the brink of a new collaboration with all being involved. We need Jill because she has shown to me she listens. Because of those listening skills, it shows the attributes of a communicator. Probably the thing that sticks out the most in my mind as far as Jill's qualifications, her patience. I know she's had to use it with me a couple of times. Her immense respect for all. The trust I have in her to say her true feelings on a subject, whether we agree or not. The way she treats all with honesty, respect, and dignity. And last but not least, it bears repeating, her ideas going forward on how she intends to make the ways under the Golden Dome more inclusive for us all. So I say to everyone, let's work in the spirit of those who came before us, that we're willing to reach into the aisle and re-elect Jill. With that said, I second the nomination of Jill Krawinski for Vermont Speaker of the House.
The member from West Rutland has seconded the nomination of Jill Krawinski for the office of Speaker. Are there any other nominations for this office? The chair recognizes the member from West Windsor, Representative Burrows.
Thank you, Madam Secretary of State. My name is Elizabeth Burrows, and I represent Windsor 1, which is Heartland, West Windsor, and Windsor, and I do so extremely proudly at this moment. I am rising this morning to nominate Representative Laura Sibilia of Dover for Speaker of the Vermont House of Representatives. Representative Sibilia has earned her chops as a leader through decades of professional and volunteer work on behalf of and for Vermonters in each capacity, honing her ability to build consensus. Abundant evidence of Laura's ability to lead people to coalesce around a subject can easily be found in her work co-chairing the rural caucus, and in shoring up public education. Her collaborative leadership is achieved through transparency. Laura is passionate, but also thorough, ethical, reasoned, and puts Vermonters above all else, including politics, while leading others to do the same. And that's what she is doing right this minute. She is showing us right here, right now, in this fantastically important moment, the courage to stand up for diversity of thought and transparency, for the importance of each thread that each representative brings to weave into the fabric of our good governance. This is not a power thing. This campaign is the result of many legislators and electorates recognizing the need for change, and one person with the courage and competence in leadership, process, and ethics to create a vision for that change that she has inspired others with. We have an extraordinary chance here to create a House of Representatives that relies on every member's gifts, on the fact that diversity of thought brings about better decisions. We have a chance to say that we absolutely choose transparency, communication, and inclusion. Colleagues, we are at a moment. Today, we have the opportunity to create gestalt that works to act on its vast potential to evolve into a better, stronger legislative body with expansive capacity to get work done for Vermonters. Political parties will exist. Power dynamics within and among those parties still exist, but there must be a way to also use our shared will in collective work for the sake of all Vermonters. We have some very strong voices in this House. We also have some voices that must be heard, but have not been. They are just as important. They represent lived experience, expertise, insights, checks on who is being left out. I trust Representative Sibilia to ensure the creation of a collaborative, meaningful, and transparent environment that includes all voices. Collaboration, it's what Vermonters have asked of us, and it's an exciting prospect, but one that requires of each of us the authentic courage to act on that hope and trust in the change Representative Sibilia is offering here and can bring about. That courage is what this biennium should be remembered for. As with any election, this moment is between you and your ballot and no one else. Abraham Maslow said, in any given moment, we have two options: to step forward into growth or to step back into safety. Please start this biennium by joining me in stepping forward, embracing solid, transparent, collaborative, and transformative leadership, embracing the evolution of what our House of Representatives could be and do, and voting for Representative Laura Sibilia. Thank you.
The member from West Windsor has nominated Laura Sibilia of Dover for the office of Speaker. Is there a second to this nomination? The chair recognizes the member from Lowell, Representative Higley.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good morning. I would like to second the nomination of Representative Laura Sibilia for Speaker of the House. As many of you are aware, we Republicans have always been an independent, diverse group of individuals. Whether in committee or on the floor, our votes many times highlight this independence. Rest assured, we are voting with the best interest of our constituents and all Vermonters, as we all should. An overwhelming number of Vermonters are looking for change and a real commitment for collaboration to help solve our many pressing issues. I have certainly disagreed with, but I've also worked with Representative Sibilia in the past. I am confident in her commitment to preside from a position of inclusion and collaboration. With many more votes to come, my commitment, as always, is making sure that the voices of my constituents are heard and considered. This change can start here with our first vote for Representative Sibilia for Speaker. Thank you.
The member from Lowell has seconded the nomination of Laura Sibilia of Dover for the office of Speaker. Is there another second to this nomination? The chair recognizes the member from Burlington, Representative Hedrick.
Madam Secretary, I also stand to second the nomination of Representative Laura Sibilia as Speaker of the House. In this moment, Laura's leadership is exactly what this chamber needs, not only for her pragmatism and fairness, but for her ability to rise above the noise and focus on the work that Vermonters have sent us here to do. As the challenges facing our state persist, there is no denying that Vermonters have clearly decided to change the political composition of this body. Now more than ever, we need leadership that seeks true consensus. Laura has a proven track record of bringing people together to find solutions while delivering results for Vermonters. Rebuilding trust in this institution starts with ensuring that every member's voice is heard and that our work remains accessible. Laura understands that trust is earned through transparency and accountability. She knows our job is to deliver, not to divide, but to govern with purpose and respect. We know collectively that Vermonters want to change and that we as a body need to have the courage to change in order to deliver. I am proud to support Laura because I know she will refocus this chamber on what truly matters. Her leadership is a chance to recommit to responsive service and accountability. With that, I urge my colleagues to join me in voting for Representative Laura Sibilia. Thank you.
The member from Burlington has seconded the nomination of Laura Sibilia of Dover for the office of Speaker. Are there any other nominations for this office? There being no further nominations, nominations are now closed and we will proceed to the election of Speaker. First, I will describe the process for this election, which is conducted in accordance with the House's parliamentary law. This election is conducted by ballot and a majority vote is required. Both nominated candidates have submitted their names to the Office of Secretary of State to have their names printed on the ballot. After debate, the chair will appoint tellers to distribute ballots and collect the ballots and then count and tally the votes. You must be in your seat in order to receive a ballot. And if you are not in your seat at the time of ballot distribution, you will not receive a ballot and you will not be able to vote. Once tellers distribute the ballots, I will ask if all representatives have received a ballot. If so, you can proceed to voting on your ballot. Do not write your name on your ballot. Please note also that blank ballots are not counted as a vote cast. Once members have finished voting, the tellers will be directed to collect the ballots from your desk. Please provide your ballot to the teller face down for orderly collection. Once ballots are collected, the poll is closed and tellers will proceed to count the votes. And please note, if you leave the chamber during the ballot distribution, you will not be permitted to re-enter the chamber until the ballots have been collected. If there's any debate before voting begins, when I recognize you, I would ask that you stand and announce your town of residence, since some of you are new and I may not have that top of mind. So now we will proceed to debate. Is there any debate on the question? Member from Tonbridge?
Tonbridge. Thank you, Madam Secretary of State. For those of you who don't know me, I am Representative O'Brien. I represent Chelsea, not Chelsea. My story's about Chelsea, Royalton in my hometown of Tunbridge. On my way up this morning, I was trying to think of stories about the Speaker of the House, and I only could come up with two. One was, and a few of you were here when this happened, was when Speaker Mitzi Johnson brought down her gavel with great authority on the frosted globe up there and broke it into a million pieces. Business stopped for the day. The other involves Peanut Kennedy, who was Speaker of the House, a Republican from Chelsea. I think he was Speaker back in late 50s, early 60s. Peanut had a friend in Chelsea called Sid Gilman, who was a co-op fire insurance agent and the town historian. So one day, Peanut Kennedy, I can't even remember what his real name was, but everybody knew him as Peanut. Peanut sent a thank you note to Sid Gilman. He wrote the note, put it in an envelope, just wrote the word Sid on it, put a stamp on it, and mailed it in Chelsea, probably in the in-town only box when post offices had such a thing. It got to Sid. Not to be outdone, Sid wrote back, "Thank you for your thank you note." He licked a stamp, put it on the envelope, and then proceeded to draw a peanut on the envelope. So the peanut envelope with a stamp on it got to Peanut Kennedy. I tell the story apropos of nothing, except it points out how Speaker of the House is kind of an anonymous position. Most Vermonters don't know any stories about Speaker of the House. Or if any of us here today go out that ramp down to the card room and look at those photos of former Speakers of the House, most of us couldn't put a name to a single photo. So even though it's a position with great power and a certain amount of celebrity, most of the time speakers operate somewhat anonymously. What matters in this House is the work that gets done here. What matters are the results. And that's why I'm supporting Laura Sibilia for the next Speaker of the House. You want results that remain anonymous. Nobody in this chamber has probably done more to bring broadband to Vermont, to bring high-speed internet to every Vermonter's home than Laura Sibilia. The Speaker also needs to understand the context of how bills work here. That you often hear this phrase, you need 76 majority in this House, 16 majority in the Senate, and 1 to pass a bill. So last year, to my mind, one of the best bills coming out of this House was a data privacy bill. Due diligence was done by the lead sponsor, a member from Bradford. Brilliant work. It was vetted in House Commerce, chaired by a Republican, member from Coventry. It passed here with overwhelming bipartisan support. The governor vetoed it. It came back here, passed again, and then the Senate did not override the veto. But that's the kind of bill that I get excited about. When this bill clearly was a victory for Vermont, and I think when it didn't get passed, it was a victory for lobbyists and a loss for Vermonters. But I think the Speaker has to understand that more happens here than just what happens in this room. There's a governor and there's a Senate, and you have to work with them. I think the Speaker also has to recognize dissent. As one of the 3 co-chairs of the Rural Caucus, Representative Sibilia has worked with, there's a Democrat, there's a Republican, and there's an independent, Representative Sibilia. Just that alone, I think, accepts that there's dissent, that there are differences to begin with. But what they were looking for, what they accept, is that there's common ground. And I think this body has to find that common ground this session. Too often in my 6 years here, I feel when a bill passes, there's sort of this feeling of, yes, score one for the Democrats. Or if the governor vetoes the bill and it doesn't become law, there's a yes, score one for the Republicans. Today, let's score one for Vermont and all Vermonters. Let's elect Laura Sibilia, the next Speaker of the House. Thank you.
Is there any further debate? Representative from South Burlington.
Madam Secretary, my name is Martin Malone, representative from South Burlington. So this is going to be a very tough session. Now, we're faced with challenges in education, public safety, housing, healthcare, among others. And what we really need is to have a leader with the experience and the temperament to guide the House in addressing these challenges. And we already know from past experience that Representative Krawinski is that leader. She is calm and composed in the face of stressful and chaotic situations that we often face. She has demonstrated even-keeled and unflappable leadership these past 4 years as Speaker. We also need to have a leader who is collaborative, someone who works well with all members, doing the work on behalf of Vermonters. We already know, again, from the past 4 years, that Representative Krawinski is that leader. She practices and preaches collaboration. So it is at the committee level where the work really gets done. And Speaker Krawinski has encouraged me as a committee chair to ensure that everyone is heard and respected in the committee. She has pressed on me the value of seeking compromise, of seeking multi-partisan input on the issues before my committee, on working with all my committee members, whatever their party, to take input from all members in my committee, even those who are going to vote against the bill, to make the bill better or at least less objectionable to them. These are all things that, as a speaker, Representative Krawinski has pushed. She wants unanimous votes as much as possible, whenever that might be possible. And I am confident that Representative Krawinski will continue as Speaker to collaborate and seek compromise where possible. I'm confident that she will welcome, listen to, and respect the diverse perspectives of the members of this body. And I strongly support the election of Representative Krawinski as our Speaker for the coming biennium. She is the leader best situated in these turbulent times to navigate us to success. Thank you.
Is there any further debate on the question? Member from?
Jed Lipsky, representative from Lamoille 1, Stowe. Thank you, Madam
have the floor.
Secretary. Yeah, we're faced with a very critical vote, and the two candidates that have been nominated and seconded both share very admirable qualities, particularly kindness and leadership skills. So I'm standing now as someone, I'm a representative from a rural community. I've made a living working in the woods as a logger for 6 decades. I've raised a family, educated that family, helped educate, served my community in many leadership roles. But just being a rural, having such a rural life and occupation doesn't mean I'm not worldly. I've been in continents all over the world, not just in forests, but doing humanitarian and conservation work. But my heart and soul is in the rural communities, many of which have been underrepresented in this body. The biggest honor of my life, outside of raising a family, has been serving in the House with many of you, where I served one biennium. I identify as an independent, so by definition, I'm not part of a caucus or a party. When I first registered to vote in Bonneville, Vermont in 1968, after taking the loyalty oath to the state of Vermont from the town clerk, Ida Coleman, I registered as an independent. People have a hierarchy of what drives them when they're serving in this role. And for me, it's not like many. They call them the 3 C's. I could call them the 5 C's. But conscience is my highest responsibility. My constituents are right there below my conscience. And my community is right there below the 2 previous. Caucus is not one of them. As I say, by definition, I don't have a party boss. I only have my conscience and my community and my constituents. I have served for the last biennium, very active on the tripartisan Rural Caucus, and I valued very much the mentorship that Laura Sibilia treated me with, as well as all of the other interests so strongly represented in that valuable caucus. Also served on the National Guard and Veteran Affairs Caucus. But other than that, I didn't have input from party bosses or influences, and quite frankly, it was very liberating. While we have 2 great candidates, I feel that Laura Sibilia's, just by drive to collaborate, her understanding of all of Vermonters' challenges, is the person that I'm standing up to support and advocate for. So with that, Madam Secretary, I will yield. Thank you.
Is there any further debate on the question? Member from Woodstock.
Madam Secretary. Thank you, Madam Secretary. And members of the newly elected members of the House. In the 3 terms I served, my name is Charlie Kimball. I represent Woodstock, Reading, and Plymouth in central Vermont. In the 3 terms I served in the House with Jill Krawinski, I came to respect and appreciate her leadership style. First, she is a servant leader, putting interests of her colleagues, constituents, and state above her own. She's even temperamented. In a charged political environment, Jill remains calm and focused on the task at hand. An example of this has already been mentioned, but she led this body through a difficult process to shore up the state pension program, enduring attacks from the left and the right to find a sustainable solution to protect retirees. She has clarity of the work before us. In April of 2024, Jill told this prospective House candidate of what issues would be center stage in this legislative session: devising a fair funding formula for education, meeting the continued housing needs in our communities, addressing the access and affordability of healthcare, and helping communities adapt to and recover from more frequent weather events. In quotes, "It's going to be hard, but necessary," end quote. That is why I came back to the legislature to work with other committed citizen legislators to solve the most pressing issues of our day. I believe Jill is the person who can get us there. Thank you.
Is there any further debate? Seeing none, before we move, member from Northfield.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Representative Ann Donahue from Northfield and Berlin. And I want to just touch briefly on a little bit of political philosophy. As members know, this is a secret ballot. Why do we vote with secret ballots? People might be surprised to know that that does not go back to the beginnings of our republic. On the contrary, on a relative scale, it's fairly new. Ben Adide, who's a voting expert, points out, if I may quote, "The secret ballot is really profound. People who would break your kneecaps or physically threaten you at the polls represent one extreme. But there are also much more subtle ways that undue influence could affect the outcome of an election. In other words, the influence of any factor other than one's personal conviction. Why do elections have secret ballots? Because people have a right to decide without influence at that point in time on their belief in the best decision, even if they made different statements before. As commentators have pointed out, there are often social pressures at play when someone's asked to ensure someone about a decision. Some people may be embarrassed about a position among one's families or friends, or they don't want to tell someone to their face, "I haven't decided yet," or "I don't want to share my personal choice." Secret ballot in the moment of casting the ballot protects someone's right to vote for the person that actually meets their best interests. So today, why is this one a secret ballot, and what are the implications for our votes? It is likewise to protect the primary issue of the integrity of your vote. It protects you at the time of the actual vote to vote for who you truly believe is the right decision for the best candidate, regardless of what you told anyone or what you may choose to share afterwards. To be true to yourself. A secret ballot empowers you to be true to your personal decision about who is best for the job, one which defends your private decision of conscience, unfettered by any other reason. Because the highest standard for integrity comes through voting your personal conscience. Thank you.
Is there any further debate? Representative from Calais.
Madam Secretary, I think we all know that we can't do anything in this biennium without each other. We need each other. And that means the operative word for this session is negotiation. We're not going to get anything done without solutions that are completely bipartisan. And that won't happen with these difficult issues without negotiation. I've spent my life in negotiations, and I can tell you, these won't be easy. They will be difficult negotiations. And I'm rising to support Jill Krawinski for the simple reason that I think she is the ideal person for those discussions and negotiations, not just amongst us, but also with the Senate and with the governor. She will be one of the key negotiators. It's because she has the right personality. She's calm, she's thoughtful, but most important, her every inclination is towards consensus, not conflict. There are people who will say they believe in consensus, but deep down, they really love conflict. And it's just the way it is. And Jill isn't one of those people. She really believes in consensus. And for that reason, I think she's the ideal person for the job. Thank you.
Is there any further debate? Member from Springfield.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good to see you again. Members that are returning probably don't recognize me sitting over here because I don't get up and speak often for debates. I'm a listener. I like to observe and listen before I make a judgment on whether it's a bill or a resolution that we're voting on. But I rise today to support Representative Krawinski for Speaker of the House. I have found her to be open to our policy, I found her to be accessible. She has visited my community and listened to me on behalf of my constituents and our constituents who are present. She listened to our needs and takes that back as she is formulating the plans for going forward. I found her to be accessible and genuinely concerned for events that are happening in Windsor 3. Oh, Christy Morris, by the way, Windsor 3, Springfield and North Springfield. I've been a member of the select board in Springfield for 17 years, 13 years of that as chair. For those of you that are chairs of your school boards, your select boards, your city councils, etc., planning commissions, it goes on and on and on. And that work is very much appreciated. But it should be observed that making changes abruptly or without good cause can be detrimental to the process. There was a time that my select board wanted to go a different direction, and they elected another chair, and that person served for 2 years. And I was agreeable to that. In fact, it was a relief that I didn't have to chair the budget and policies of the town of Springfield. We all have, and the point is, we all have various opinions, and we see that often with bills. Whether you're a red district, a blue district, a purple district, an independent district, we have our own opinions on bills that are coming through and how we feel it's going to affect our constituents. And the point is, we don't all agree. I think that's obvious. There's very few votes, resolutions, or bills that have gone through this chamber 100% in favor. There's always disagreement. There's always someone that feels that they're not serving their constituents with a resolution or the bill that is being passed. So I found that I have disagreed with some of the bills that are brought forth. And I'm from the majority party. Last year we had a supermajority. I understand that. But I have found I have not been chastised. I have not been pressured. I found that it's an open door, understanding policy. They listen. They have the concerns. Now, we've heard about transparency and collaboration. I think that I have seen that, or at least I have witnessed it. And I think there is merit to legacy and consistency for good legislation. You've heard it. This is going to be a tough year. And I agree with that. I think it's going to be a tough year. We need the cooperation and collaboration of every one of us that are sitting. I have the utmost respect for the leadership style that Jill presents, how she handles the chamber, how she handles legislation. And for that reason, I will support Jill Kowinski for Speaker of the House. Thank you.
Is there any further debate? Seeing none, before we move, member from Bradford.
Madam Secretary, my name is Monique Priestley, and I represent the towns of Bradford, Fairleigh, and West Fairleigh. If I had to choose just one word to describe the climate of the past summer, it would be anger. My constituents, regardless of party affiliation, have repeatedly expressed frustration, sadness, and above all, a deep plead for change. The only way I've been able to break through that frustration and disillusionment is by sharing concrete examples of times that I challenged party lines and took risks to foster collaboration. I personally don't want to be in that position again. I want to be proud of the work that we're doing without continually being forced to highlight our challenges to operate within these walls. Some might say there will always be a disconnect between our work here and what the public perceives. Of course, no one can deny there was an intense messaging campaign designed to stroke strong emotions. But even those of us who were here last session know the frustration was real. We all felt it. We all saw how quickly trust in the process can unravel. Both candidates have acknowledged that mistakes were made and that significant changes must follow. For me, this vote has been a struggle precisely because I don't see how we can serve our constituents effectively if we remain bogged down in disjointed communication and political posturing. It's my hope that the choice each of us makes today is guided by the people we represent, the people who have demanded we do things differently. Now we can either affirm that we've heard their concerns and commit to breaking the cycle of last section, or we can risk finding ourselves right back where we ended up before, at an impasse, with our constituents losing faith in this institution. My sincere hope is that we truly listen and that we cast our votes with a clear-eyed resolve to put the public interest first. Let's remember that while we represent different perspectives, our ultimate goal must be the same, a legislative body that genuinely serves the people of Vermont.
Is there any further debate? Member from Essex Junction, Essex.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. My name is Ray Garofano. I'm a representative from Essex, and I also serve Essex Junction. I was appointed to the House of Representatives in 2022, and my first day was going to be the day that everyone came back post-COVID. It was a crazy day here, and I was a ball of nerves, and that Sunday, Representative Kowinski called me, and she spent about half an hour on the phone with me, telling me where to park, where to go, what the swearing in looks like, wanting to make sure I was happy with my committee. I was replacing someone on the Human Services Committee. That may seem like a really small gesture, but coming in that Tuesday and seeing what the building was like, that very small gesture really impressed me. And it made me realize that I was going to have a partner and an amazing leader in my time in the House. So in the time that I've been here, Representative Kowinski has demonstrated a quiet, steady leadership. She's thoughtful, she's collaborative, and she's open-minded. She listens to all perspectives. She always wants to know how she can be helpful and what she can do to make sure that we are all successful. She has a keen ability to unite diverse voices, and this is the type of leadership that we need to serve us, deal with the really tremendous challenges that we face. I hope you'll join me in supporting Representative Jill Kowinski.
Is there any further debate? Seeing none, before we proceed to voting, your final member has arrived, and so we will return to the roll for Windsor 6, Kevin B. Coach Christie.
Present.
All members present and accounted for. We will now proceed to voting. The chair will appoint the following tellers to administer this election. The member from Springfield, Representative Emmons, is appointed as lead teller. The remaining 6 tellers are the member from Burlington, Representative Chena, the member from Berkshire, Representative Hango, the member from Bennington, Representative Nigro, the member from Linden, Representative Quimby, the member from Milton, Representative Taylor, and the member from Moortown, Representative Torre. Will the tellers please convene at the main table and proceed to administer their duties? Members kindly take their seats. Members kindly take their seats. While the tellers are making their final preparations, I just want to review how this election will be conducted. You must be in your seat to receive a ballot. If you are not in your seat at the time of ballot distribution, you will not receive a ballot and you will not be able to vote. Once the tellers have distributed the ballots, I will ask if everyone has received a ballot. You can then proceed to vote your ballot. Please do not write your name on the ballot unless, of course, you wish to write yourself in as a candidate for speaker. Otherwise, don't mark any names on your ballot. Please note that blank ballots are not counted as a vote cast. And once every member has finished voting, we will ask the tellers to collect the ballots. For ease of collection and counting, please do not fold your ballot. Please turn your ballot face down and put it on your desk until the tellers return to collect your ballot. And it looks like our tellers are poised and ready, so please begin. Would ask the members to please maintain decorum. Have all members now received a ballot? You may proceed to vote. Are members ready to have their ballots collected? Okay, again, I would ask you to return your ballot to your teller unfolded face down for ease of counting. Tellers, please collect the ballots. All right, seeing that the ballots have been collected, I would ask members to remain in their seats so that the tellers can hear themselves. The acoustics in this room make it very difficult for the center table to communicate if there's a lot of chatter going on. So would invite you to speak very softly, and the tellers will proceed to count the ballots. It feels like the first day of school. Please listen to the results of your vote. There were 147 votes cast. Majority needed for the election is 74. Those voting for Jill Krawinski of Burlington, 111. Those voting for Laura Sibilia of Dover, 35. Jill Krawinski, having received a majority of votes cast, is hereby elected Speaker of the House for the ensuing biennium. I now designate the following 6 members as a committee to wait upon the Speaker-elect, inform her of her election, and conduct her to the bar of the House to receive the oath of office. The member from Essex Junction, Representative Houghton. The member from Pulteney, Representative McCoy. The member from Burlington, Representative Logan. The member from Woodstock, Representative Kimball. The member from Coventry, Representative Marcotte. And the member from Middlebury, Representative Schy. Would the members of the committee please meet in the well of the House and proceed?
Madam Secretary of State.
Madam Sergeant at Arms.
Madam Secretary, may I present to you the member from Essex Junction, the member from Pulteney, the member from Burlington, the member from Woodstock, the member from Coventry, and the member from Middlebury as the committee to conduct the Speaker-elect to the bar of the House to receive the oath of office.
Members of the committee, please escort the Speaker-elect to the bar of the House. We will now proceed with the oath of office. I, Jill Krawinski.
I, Jill Krawinski,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that as a member of this assembly,
that as a member of this assembly,
I will not propose or assent
I will not oppose or assent
to any bill, vote, or resolution
to any bill, vote, or resolution
which shall appear to me injurious to the people,
which shall appear to me injurious to the people,
nor do nor consent
nor do nor consent
to any act or thing whatever
to any act of thing, whatever,
that shall have a tendency to lessen or abridge their rights and privileges. That shall have a tendency
that you have a tendency
to lessen or abridge
to lessen or abridge
their rights or privileges,
their rights or privileges,
as declared by the Constitution of this state,
as declared by the Constitution of this state,
but will in all things conduct myself as a faithful, honest representative
conduct myself as a faithful representative
and guardian of the people,
and guardian of the people,
according to the best of my judgment and ability,
according to the best of my judgment and ability,
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont,
that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont,
and that I will not directly or indirectly
and that I will not directly or indirectly
do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution
do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution
or the government thereof,
or the government thereof,
under pains and penalties of perjury.
under pains and penalties of perjury.
I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I did not, at the time of my election to this body,
that I did not at the time of my election to this body,
and that I do not now
and that I do not now
hold any office of profit or trust under the authority of Congress.
hold any office or trust
Under the authority
under the authority
of Congress.
of Congress,
Under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Just as all of you, I am so grateful to be here. And as you can see, it's a tremendous honor for me to stand here today. And then given the responsibility you have once again entrusted me as Speaker of the House, this is not a mantle I take lightly. Serving as your Speaker has been and continues to be a tremendous honor and privilege. And while I have served in this role for 2 bienniums, no legislature is ever the same, and each session presents its own set of challenges and opportunities. Today, on the first day of the 78th biennium, I pledge to approach this work with renewed dedication, perseverance for a better tomorrow, and steadfast belief that together we can meet the challenges ahead. To members, both new and returning, public service is just not only an honor, it is a calling to gather in this chamber as Vermonters have for generations, sitting shoulder to shoulder with the shared responsibility to make decisions that will shape the future of Vermont. We come here from every corner of the state, each of us as unique as the communities we represent. Here today, we bring our experiences, the voices we represent to the issues before us. Collaboration is essential in this moment. We must show up. We must show up not only as individuals, not as political parties, but as Vermonters united to do the work entrusted to us by our neighbors. As we embark on this new biennium, I want to take a moment to recognize the incredible family members we have here, our friends, our loved ones, who stand behind each and every one of us. They step up to cover the gaps while we are here, and they give us strength when we need it most. Their sacrifice, their belief in us and what we do allows us to answer this calling. So please join me and let's take a minute to thank our families and friends here today. Thank you. And thankfully, we are not alone in this work. The legislative staff are the unsung heroes of the State House. Their tireless effort makes it possible for us to navigate the twists and the turns of the journey ahead of us. Their dedication allows us to meet the great responsibility before us with confidence. So please join me in thanking our incredible staff here in the building. Members, the challenges before us are clear, they are urgent, and they are complex. Vermonters are looking for solutions to issues that they are facing today, solutions that support a better tomorrow. We must work together to pass robust policies and support working families and a thriving economy, economy that protects our most vulnerable and ushers in a future where Vermont works well and works for everyone. We need to address the future of our public education and rising property taxes. Many Vermonters are struggling to pay their bills, and at the same time, we have a duty to ensure kids have access to the resources and programs that define a high-quality public education. In this moment, we need to be honest with ourselves and recognize that this will be extremely difficult work. For meaningful progress to be made, we must come together as a body with the Senate and with the governor. We need to have a holistic approach, looking beyond our individual districts and approach the issue from a statewide perspective with Vermonters' children at the front and center. There is not one policy that will achieve our shared goals. It will take every member and every committee collaborating to find opportunities that support long-term sustainability of our public education system. It will take incredible courage from all of us, but I believe that with our children at the front of our minds, we can make systemic reforms that are needed for the future of public education. Also, safe, affordable housing remains out of reach for too many Vermonters. Renters, homeowners, families, and businesses alike are feeling the strain of our housing crisis. We are fortunate to be a state where people want to grow their roots or start a new chapter, but we do not have the opportunity for everyone to have a roof over their head at this time, and that must change. Committees will take testimony on the progress that recent legislation has made and dig into what works and what needs to be adjusted. At times, it can feel impossible to fix a housing crisis that has been decades in the making, and while we can't do it overnight, I know that we can identify innovative, bold solutions to increase access that will truly make a difference for Vermonters. The impact of climate change is clearly felt and seen here in Vermont, the extreme weather to rising energy costs. Communities like Barre and Plainfield are rebuilding, and towns like Johnson and Cambridge are reimagining the future identity of their downtown. We simply can't afford the cost and the traumatic impact of these weather events. Inaction's not an option here. We must identify ways to strengthen our infrastructure, increase access to resources for rural communities, make home heating options more affordable, and pass legislation that builds a more resilient communities that are prepared for the storms ahead. These are not abstract policies. They are daily realities of the people we represent. Putting food on the table, having a warm, affordable place to live, giving children the quality education they deserve, assessing healthcare services they need. These are the challenges facing Vermonters every day. With the passing of President Jimmy Carter, the nation has been reflecting on his life and his legacy of public service. Nearly 50 years ago, President Carter remarked, "The experience of democracy is like the experience of life itself, always changing. Infinite in its variety, sometimes turbulent, and all the more valuable for having been tested in adversity." And while that was said a half a century ago, it still remains true today. Our democracy is not easy. It's dynamic, changing, constantly evolving. But in these moments of adversity, it's important to value what comes clear. This session, as we face some of the greatest challenges Vermonters have asked us to address, we must lean into the turbulence and embrace the work together ahead. As I have said time and time again, everyone here, all of you, have a seat at the table. As much as I know we are here to solve problems, and I also know that we don't have all the answers yet, but that's why I'm pulling up a chair just like each and every one of you. I want to hear your ideas, hear your perspectives, your hopes for what we can achieve together. It will take all of us here in this moment. And I'm looking forward to doing that work and working hard with our leaders, Representative Houghton, Representative McCoy, and Representative Logan. Let's listen to each other, appreciate our differences, and come together to chart the best path forward. Let's rise to the occasion and move forward with purpose and determination. Now let's get to work. Thank you. Members, our next order of business is the election of clerk, and nominations for the office of clerk are now in order. Member from Essex Junction.
I am honored and thrilled to nominate Betsy Ann Rask of Barrytown as clerk of the House. Betsy Ann was first elected House clerk at the beginning of the 2021-2022 biennium. And she has a wealth of experience. She is a 2005 graduate of Vermont Law School and began her legal career as second assistant clerk for the 2006-2008 sessions. She says it was that position that inspired her deep commitment to the legislative branch. She later served for a decade, from 2010 to 2020, as legislative counsel in the Office of Legislative Counsel, handling issues related to government operations. Betsy Ann has developed an expertise in Vermont's governmental structure and will confirm that all three branches are equal, but of course, this one is her favorite. When she was first elected clerk, the House was still operating completely remotely due to the pandemic. She has helped us return to our customary operation, but is always seeking ways to help us conduct our legislative business more efficiently and effectively. She is devoted to the House and the clerk position and is available anytime to discuss issues relating to legislative procedure. Please join me in voting for Betsy Ann of Barrytown as clerk of the House.
The member from Essex Junction has nominated Betsy Ann Rask of the town of Barry for the office of clerk. Is there a second nomination? Member from Poultney.
Madam Speaker, I rise to second the nomination of Betsy Ann Rask of Barrytown as clerk of the House. Betsy Ann has worked for the Vermont Legislative Branch for 17 years and has always worked here in a nonpartisan capacity. She says she enjoys giving House members objective information about the legislative issues we face and then watching what decisions we, as elected representatives, make with that information. She is ready to continue her role with the same attention to detail and positive energy that she has always brought to the legislative table. You may not know this, but before she started law school, she was a country music DJ in the Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia tri-state area, playing tunes as Betsy Wild West. I'm going to keep Betsy Ann in mind if all y'all decide to get together and we need a DJ. She still loves old country songs, but says she is so grateful that her professional career is now focused on constitutional legislative authority and procedure. Please join me in voting for Betsy Ann Rask of Barrytown as our clerk of the House.
The member from Poultney has seconded the nomination of Betsy Ann Rask of Barrytown for the office of clerk. Are there any other nominations for this office? Seeing none, there being no further nominations, I direct that the vote be taken via voice. The question is, shall the House elect Betsy Ann Rask of Barrytown as clerk of the House? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and Betsy Ann Rask of Barrytown has been elected clerk of the House for the ensuing biennium. The chair. The chair now designates the following four members as the committee to wait upon the clerk-elect clerk-elect, inform her of her election, and conduct her to the bar of the House to receive the oath of office. The member from Essex Junction, Representative Dolan, the member from Barnard, Representative Supranant, the member from St. Albans Town, Representative Tooth, and the member from Burlington, Representative Hedrick. Members of the committee, will you please meet in the well of the House and proceed to perform your duties?
Madam Speaker.
Madam Sergeant at Arms.
Madam Speaker, I present to you the member from Essex Junction, Representative Dolan, the member from Barnard, Representative Supranant, the member from St. Albans Town, Representative Tooth, and the member from Burlington, Representative Hedrick, as the committee to conduct the clerk-elect to the bar of the House to receive the oath of office.
I, and say your name,
I, Betsy Ann Rask,
do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont,
that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont,
and that I will not directly or indirectly
and that I will not directly or indirectly
do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution or government thereof,
do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution or the government thereof,
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I will faithfully execute the office of Clerk of the House of Representatives of the state of Vermont,
that I will faithfully execute the office of Clerk of the House of Representatives of the state of Vermont,
and will therein do equal right and justice to all persons,
and will therein do equal right and justice to all persons,
to the best of my judgment and ability, according to law,
to the best of my judgment and ability according to law,
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do solemnly affirm
I do solemnly affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Congratulations,
Thank
Madam
you.
Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Members, we will now proceed to House members' oath of office. Please note that in taking your oath, you have the choice to swear to God or to affirm under the pains and penalties of perjury. And please also remember that all members are required to sign the written oath of office that is at your desk and return that signed copy to the clerk's office. Our second assistant clerk will accept your signed forms here in the chamber once we recess this morning. Otherwise, please drop off your signed copy at the clerk's office before you leave here today. Now, members-elect, please rise to receive the oath of office from our clerk.
Thank you, members. Please raise your right hand. I, and say your name, do solemnly swear or affirm that as a member of this assembly, I will not propose or assent to any bill, vote, or resolution which shall appear to me injurious to the people, nor do nor consent to any act or thing whatever that shall have a tendency to lessen or abridge their rights and privileges as declared by the Constitution of this state, but will in all things conduct myself as a faithful, honest representative and guardian of the people, according to the best of my judgment and ability. If an oath, so help me God, or if an affirmation under the pains and penalties of perjury. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I'll be true and faithful to the state of Vermont, and that I will not directly or indirectly do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution or government thereof. If an oath, so help me God, or if an affirmation under the pains and penalties of perjury. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I did not, at the time of my election to this body, and that I do not now hold any office of profit or trust under the authority of Congress. If an oath, so help me God, or if an affirmation under the pains and penalties of perjury. I do further solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States. If an oath, so help me God, or if an affirmation under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Congratulations, members. Members, will the House please come to order? Will the House please come to order? Members kindly take their seats. We have received the clerk's letter appointing the House Clerk's office. Will the clerk please read the appointment letter?
Madam Speaker, I have the honor of informing you and the members of the House that I have appointed Nigel Hicks Tibbles of Northfield as First Assistant Clerk, Courtney Record of Williamstown as Second Assistant Clerk, Teresa Utton-German of Barrytown as Journal Clerk, Christine Dittmeyer of Plainfield as Clerk Associate on a leave of absence, and Jeannie Lowell of Montpelier as Interim Clerk Associate.
At this time, will the assistant clerks please rise to receive the oath of office administered by the clerk?
I and say your name. Do solemnly affirm that I will be true and faithful to the state of Vermont, and that I will not, directly or indirectly, do any act or thing injurious to the Constitution or government thereof, under the pains and penalties of perjury. I and say your name. Do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of Assistant Clerk for the House of Representatives of the state of Vermont, and will therein do equal right and justice to all persons to the best of my judgment and ability, according to law, under the pains and penalties of perjury. I do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Congratulations. Now the House is ready to do business, and we have our customary organizing House resolutions to take up at this time. HR 1 is a House resolution relating to House rules offered by Representatives Houghton, McCoy, and Logan. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the House of Representatives that the House rules in effect at the end of the 2023-2024 session be the rules of this biennial session until others are adopted.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted. Next up is HR 2, a House resolution relating to the organization of the House and informing the Senate thereof, offered by Representatives Houghton, McCoy, and Logan. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the House of Representatives that the clerk of the House inform the Senate that the House is organized and is ready to proceed on its part with the business of the session.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted. And now we'll take up HR 3, which is a House resolution relating to the organization of the House and informing the governor thereof, offered by Representatives Houghton, McCoy, and Logan. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the House of Representatives that His Excellency, the Governor, be informed by committee that the House has completed its organization and is ready to receive any communication from him.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted. Pursuant to the provisions of HR 3, I hereby appoint the following members as a committee to inform the governor that the House is ready to proceed with the business of session. The member from Bennington, Representative Corcoran. The member from Burlington, Representative Stone. The member from Burke, Representative Kasenska. The member from Barry Town, Representative Galfetti. The member from Burlington, Representative Chena, and the member from Stowe, Representative Lipsky. Will the members of the committee please meet in the well of the House and proceed to perform their duties? The committee advises that the members have informed the governor of the House's reorganization. So with that, now we'll take up joint Senate resolutions that were adopted and messaged to us by the Senate. The first is JRS 1, a joint resolution relating to joint rules offered by Senator Baruth. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the joint rules for the Senate and the House as adopted in 2023 be adopted as the joint rules of this biennial session until others are adopted.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted in concurrence. Next is JRS 2, which is a joint resolution to provide for a joint assembly to receive the report of the committee appointed to canvass votes for state officers offered by Senator Baruth. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the two houses meet in joint assembly on Thursday, January 9th, 2025 at 10 o'clock in the morning to receive the report of the joint canvassing committee appointed to canvass votes for governor, lieutenant governor, state treasurer, secretary of state, auditor of accounts, and attorney general. It shall be declared by said committee that there have been no election by voters of any said state officers that should proceed forthwith to elect such officers as have not been elected by the voters.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted in concurrence. Next is JRS 3, which is a joint resolution to provide for a joint assembly to hear the inaugural message of the governor, also offered by Senator Baruth. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that the two houses meet in joint assembly on Thursday, January 9th, 2025 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to receive the inaugural message of the governor.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted in concurrence. Finally is JRS 4, a joint resolution relating to town meeting adjournment offered by Senator Baruth. Please listen to the reading of the resolution.
Resolved by the Senate and House of Representatives that when the two houses adjourn on Friday, February 28th, 2025, or Saturday, March 1st, 2025, you be to meet again no later than Tuesday, March 11th, 2025.
Now you've heard the reading of the resolution, and the question is, shall the House adopt the resolution in concurrence? Are you ready for the question? If so, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it, and the resolution is adopted in concurrence. Next, the chair announces the following members who were elected to their respective caucus to serve on the Committee on House Rules pursuant to House Rule 25. The member from Essex Junction, Representative Houghton. The member from Essex Junction, Representative Dolan. The member from Heartland, Representative Bartholomew. The member from Poultney, Representative McCoy. The member from St. Albans Town, Representative Tooth. And the member from Linden, Representative Feltus. Pursuant to Rule 25, the chair designates Representative Houghton of Essex Junction as the vice chair. Members, this completes the business of our morning. Before we recess, the chair has several announcements. There will be a meeting of House Rules today at 12:45 in the House Speaker's office. And please remember to sign and return your oath of office to the clerk's office by the end of the day. Also, on each desk in the House, members have ethics disclosure forms required by House Rule 90B. Members have until the 10th legislative day of the session to complete and return your form to the clerk. These will be posted on the House webpage, so please be sure to print your name on the front page and sign your name on the back. Members, when we return this afternoon, we will begin with the House seating ceremony. When you enter the chamber, members of the 2023-24 biennium can go to their selected seats. All other members can select an available seat and we'll begin the seating ceremony pursuant to House Rule 5. With that said, the House will stand in recess until the fall of the gavel at 1:30 p.m.